Hey guys, in this recording, I want to talk to you a little bit about your college lists and how to manage that on SCORE, because this is where we're going to know as counselors where you're applying and where we need to send your documents to for your applications to be able to get processed. So I'm going to share my screen here and take us over to SCORE again. Now, when you guys log in, this is your home page again, and we want to make sure that we are in My Colleges to be able to manage all this. So a lot of you are going to see schools in your suggested list, and then a lot in your following list. And neither of those mean that you're going to apply to those schools. But once you decide that you will be applying to a school, we need you to move that school over to the applying list. That's going to communicate to us where you're applying, so where we need to send stuff to. And it's also going to help you keep organized on when your deadlines are and what type of application you're doing. So I'm going to walk through a couple of these. We'll start with a Cal State school. So Cal Poly SLO, that's a state school. And when I drag it over there, it prompts me to select either the deadline and the method in which I'm going to apply. The Cal States only have one deadline, so there is no thought needed there. You just need to make sure you're aware that November 30th is the latest you can turn in that application. The earliest you could do a Cal State is in October and complete it. And you're going to do it through the college website. That's the Cal State website, which we're going to share with you as well. So we save that, and it's now added to our applying list. We get a nice little chart here that tells us, okay, there's only two tasks that we really need to complete in order to get our Cal State application sent. That would be sending the application and paying the fee. Now this year test scores are not needed, so that is not a box that you will really need to worry about because Cal States will not be accepting those. It's the private schools that maybe have a little bit more choice into what you want to apply for. Let's try Loyola Marymount. So Loyola Marymount has a few different options for your application. There's early decision, early action, and regular decision. Early decision means that if you apply there, early decision, and they accept you, you have to go to that school. It's like a contract. You are committing to go to that school if they accept you. So clearly you could only do that to one school because you can't commit yourself to multiple schools. So early decision is rarely used, but we maybe have a couple of guys each year that are so passionate about a school and they want to get that application in and go from there. But you do need to chat with your counselor because there's an approval button that a counselor needs to check to say that you've been notified that this is contractually obligating you to go to that university. Early action just means you have all your stuff done early and you're ready to send it in. You're not bound to have to go to that school. You can apply to multiple schools early action. We recommend this for guys that if we've told you that a school is a plus school for you and we feel like you'd already get in right now with what you've accomplished, may as well apply early. It also sends a message to those schools that you're on top of things and everything's ready to go. Regular decision, if you'd like to wait a little bit. There's no penalty or no harm in waiting until the regular decision deadline. January 15th is a common one. There's some in February, there's some January 1st, and so on. But this allows you oftentimes to use your first semester of your senior year as a boost in your application. Since they will be reviewing your application after this semester is over, they'll be able to see your grades. So that could be a good thing, hopefully not a bad thing, depending on how things go. So keep that in mind, but you will have to pick one. I'm going to pick early action right now. And if it gives you the option to use the common application, we're going to use the common application and hit save. So that's kind of what happens here. You again get the tasks list here. I've checked a few earlier, but doing the essay, which is part of the application, those are done. If you submit test scores, you can check the box. This one gave us an option to skip it since they're test optional. Always double check though on your college's website. SCORE does its best to stay up to date on which ones have gone test optional, but as we saw with the Cal Poly SLO example, they still had the checkbox for test scores, even though test scores are not being accepted this year. And then your financial stuff, submit FAFSA, and then make sure you request your recommendation from a teacher. And after you've done that, make sure you send a thank you note to them for putting in some hard work to help you get into college. So you should be managing these over the next couple of months. And again, if you apply to Boston College, but you left it all the way over here and never told us, we're not going to be able to get your information to Boston College for them to process their application. So this is a very important step to be able to move that school over, select one of these things, and then the common application, regular decision. So Boston College doesn't have early action. They just have 2 early decision periods. And the difference here is maybe you applied to a different school. Maybe you applied to Loyola Marymount, early decision November 1. You heard back in December that you didn't get in. Now you'd like to do early decision 2 for Boston College because you're freed up to be able to accept a school if they accept you. And so here's the information about the early decision that you have to do if you select that. And then I've added Boston College. So now if it was where I was going to apply, your counselor now knows that they're able to do that. And then when you go back to your front page here, you're greeted with your application status right when you log in every time. You're able to see, okay, when is the deadline for these? There's my November 1st. I'm getting close on my tasks for November 1st, which is great. Boston College, I've still got a lot of time left. And then my state school, just those 2 simple tasks, and then, or really 1 simple task now, and then due November 30th, just doing that application. No essays, no letters of recommendation for those state schools. So try and stay organized with that. Now's the time to start to move those schools in the applying column. And again, this is something that you can work on throughout the semester. You don't have to have all your decisions made today, but I think most of you have a couple schools that you're already pretty certain that you're going to apply to, and those should be moved to the apply list so we can get moving on supporting your application and getting the schools everything that they need. As always, if you have more questions about what I just went over, or organizing those lists, or selecting your deadlines as to whether or not should this be an early action deadline for me, or should this be regular decision based on the schools, talk to your counselor. That's we'll give you our best advice on all those things.